I love that you're in your bathtub, by the way.
And you too, by the way,
Thank
with
you.
no water.
With no water. Because if we turn on the water, they will find us.
Exactly.
Mom, where are you?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Potty Talk. I am so excited to hide in the bathroom today with Boti Bliss, who is a mommy and an actress. And you probably know her as Valera on CSI Miami, but you've done tons of TV shows, tons of movies, and I noticed a lot of thrillers.
Yes. There's been a lot of lifetime thrillers that I've done, which is kind of funny because when I played the part of Valera on CSI Miami, I was a DNA tech. And all my dialogue was just so like reading out of a dictionary. And I just thought, gosh, I really just, I want to do like a soap opera or something after this with some kind of emotion. And then, of course, I started getting all these Lifetime movies that are like high stakes emotion. So I got my wish.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of it before you hid in the bathroom with me.
Yes.
So your name, Boti, and my name, Deva, are these two like wackadoodle hippie girl names. So clearly hippie parents.
Yes, hippie parents. And this quarantine thing, I think it's been harder on other people than me. Well, first of all, just to be healthy. And my heart goes out to everybody that is going through stuff. That's a given. So I'm not complaining at all. But the quarantine
It's okay, let's complain.
Okay,
This
okay.
sucks.
Yes, this does suck. Okay. But I think I have a better mechanism of coping than other people because I grew up in a teepee in the middle of nowhere on hundreds of acres. So like this, I know this. This is fine for me.
And now you have a gorgeous bathroom.
Yes, and now I have an indoor plumbing, which is
That
something
was
I
gonna be my
didn't.
question.
Yes.
Where did you pee?
An outhouse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where did you cook?
And on the stove, we had like we had wood fire stove, but also there was like propane, cooktop. So it was a different life. I didn't appreciate it, especially when I got to be a teenager, but I appreciate it now looking back. And I'm like, oh, when stuff goes down, I can still go home to Colorado and we're off the grid,
Right. I've been thinking that myself right now. Like, I wish I had land and a garden and
Right.
all these things, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little upgrade from a teepee, but yeah.
So how many people were in the teepee?
I have 3 sisters and a brother.
Oh,
Yep,
4 kids?
yep, and horses, and sometimes goats, and sometimes chickens, and dogs. Did I say dogs? My brain is frazzled.
Oh, my brain's always frazzled. My brain's like scrambled eggs. And did you guys, how did you sleep? What was the sleeping? I'm just fascinated by this.
So picture like a good size maybe living room would be the bottom, and then we had lofts. So the second floor was where my sisters and I slept, and then the top floor my brother slept. And my parents slept like on a roll-out bed in the living room, whatever the living room would be.
And so you're kind of prepared for anything.
Because I would go as a kid, like, all summer and not really see anybody except for my brothers and sisters. So I would say the difference is my son and my husband are really like they crave social situations where I'm like, I'm
Right.
content. I don't have to go anywhere, but they like, so it's just nonstop, tuck, 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 like all the time. So I like wake up really super early in the morning to have my meditation and my quiet. But then the minute they're awake, it's just nonstop.
I hear my son approaching, like, don't come in. He is the loudest walker. Like, it's like boom, 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 boom. So it's not subtle. I know when he's coming and I know when to hide.
He gives it away.
He gives himself away.
Well, my son's in a music lesson right now, so I don't think he'll disturb us. My pugs, on the other hand, are a different story.
Yes, I have a golden doodle who I used to complain that my kids wouldn't let me pee alone. Now it's the dog.
Don't get me started. do. Seriously, everywhere I go, they're attached to me. I'm like, oh my God. I'm gonna.
It's just a replacement for the toddler years.
Seriously.
Okay, so every guest I have on, I ask the same 7 questions.
Okay.
And I love seeing the different answers, especially to one of the questions, which is a 1-word answer. So it's really, really fun. Are you ready?
I am ready.
What do you miss most about your pre-kids life besides the teepee?
I don't miss the teepee. I'm good. Indoor plumbing is great. I miss shooting the. Oh, can we swear? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I don't swear on my life suckers, but then
sorry.
everybody, this is called potty talk, and everybody has just been cursing. And you know what? We're in the potty.
Okay.
We're going to potty talk.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'm sorry. I just miss shooting the with my husband. Like, I mean, honestly, we can't complete a sentence. You know what I mean? Well, my son he turned 9 during quarantine. So he's still very much, he's an only child. So it's, we incorporate him in everything we do. But I do miss just like talking about nothing, like just anything that just comes to your mind, where it's like now I'm like, oh, I want to talk to Blair about that later. And then you never do. You never just get to shoot the or
even finish a sentence or talk about anything.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
It's impossible. That, and I would say traveling, because I used to just, when things got to be too much, I'd just throw my stuff in a backpack and then just go, and so I do miss that. I miss that. But my son's a good traveler too, but it's like you can't just like, oh, I'm gonna go to Thailand tomorrow, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it changes things a little. We've traveled a lot with our kids, and every time we do it, we're like, for like the first 2 minutes, we're like, this is amazing. And then we're like, we are never doing this again. This is the last place you'll ever go.
Honestly, the meltdowns. I have this great picture of my son. We went to Italy and we're at the Vatican and he's just laying in front of the Vatican on the ground. I'm like, this is...
It's so funny. We also had a pretty terrible experience at the Vatican because we waited in like 95-degree heat in line for an hour. By the time we even made it in there, they were done.
They were done. That's exactly our experience.
Okay. What is the worst piece of parenting advice you have ever received?
I knew you were going to ask this question, and I was hesitant to say it because I know exactly what it is, but I know it worked for other people. But sleep training was the worst thing. And I think it depends on your child. Like my kid did not sleep, and we tried sleep training. I would say, I can't even remember how old, but pretty young, like right at the edge of when you should try it. And he stayed up the entire night, and his crib was just, he gnawed the wood off his crib. And it was like, I was bawling, my husband was bawling, and we're like, why did we effing listen to this? And maybe it works for other people. I'm sure, I know for my friends it worked, but for me it was, and then after that, he would not leave my side. Before I'd be able to put him down for a nap or something and I could walk out of the room. And then I feel like today he's still sleeping on our bed because of it.
Yes, I can relate to this so well. So my first didn't sleep through the night until she was 2.5, a little older than 2.5. And we tried to do sleep training. And I just remember her crying, me in the kitchen with my husband screaming at him, like, go get her.
And they're told you, don't let her do it. Don't let her go get her.
Oh yeah, no. And it did not work for us.
Yeah.
But then with my second, he was like super easy. So I think it depends on the kid.
Yeah.
And all that advice for my first did not work.
Right. So it's like, it's so individual. It just totally depends on that child.
Exactly. Which I think is like the most important thing about any parenting advice, right? It's your kid.
Yeah.
No one knows but you.
Yeah. And you think you know, and when you don't have kids, you think you know.
Oh, don't get me started. The parenting advice from people who aren't parents. My brother in particular is very, very good at that, and he doesn't have children, and I just cannot wait for the day for him to have kids so I can just sit there and be like, ha 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 ha.
Honestly.
What is the meanest thing your son has ever said or done to you?
I have a very sweet child, I've got to say. Like especially like, a boy in general,
Yeah.
he's so sensitive. So this week, okay, homeschooling has been an effing nightmare, okay? Yeah. And my child doesn't sit still for very long. And so we've been having meltdown after meltdown after meltdown. Then we got one day where it was like only one meltdown and we got everything done and it was so good. So I said to him, okay, you know what? We had such a great day. Within reason, what would you like? Like say like a video game or I'll give you a present of some sort. And like without any hesitation, he said, I would like to have a daddy and me night where we order islands and watch a movie and you go in the other room and we pretend you're not here.
Oh.
Now, part of me was like, yes, oh my gosh, all the things I can do. What should I do? Yoga, binge watch something. And then, but I'm like, ow.
Yeah, that hurts.
And he wasn't even trying to be mean. It just was really mean.
What I want, Mommy, is for you to go away.
To not be here at all.
See, little does he know that the feeling is mutual sometimes.
No, exactly. Exactly. Right.
Okay, what was your biggest parenting mistake?
Oh God. So, when you have like the 4-year-old or the 5-year-old, and especially in like the cities, people start to say to you, like, you better get enrolled in a school, or they were enrolled by the time they were pregnant, they were like, I'm already enrolled in preschool. And I was like, I am not playing that game. And then I'm like, I think it's time for him this year. We'll enroll in preschool. No availabilities, like
no spots.
Nothing in our area. And I was like, oh, maybe I should have played the game a little bit. And so we went to this school that was like a friend of a friend's, kind of like, oh, this school was good. And I didn't know any better, right? And it was such a horrible experience for him. And he was so excited and just like so excited to go to school. And he would come home and there would be like a bruise on his head. And I'd say, what happened? He's like, a kid threw a book at my head. And so I went in there and I was talking to the teachers, and the way that they dealt with it was they screamed at the kid that was being accused. And this was before I knew anything about conflict resolution. I didn't even know what that meant, but there was something in me that was like, you know what, I don't feel like that's how that situation should have been dealt. Like there's a reason he's throwing a book. And so we lasted like a month there and he came, still nothing happened. So I was like, ugh.
That's why they had a spot.
Yeah.
So next time you're trying to get your kid in somewhere and they're like, yeah, we've got plenty of room.
Run away, run away.
Okay, describe parenting in one word.
I have two, but it's gotta be, if it's just one, it's love. Just in the end, come on, it's so generic, but it just encompasses everything. But what if I could have two words, it would be like life enhancing. Just because
I love that.
It's life enhancing. Like you hurt more, you love more, you laugh more, you cry more. It's just like it brings everything. It brings who you are to the surface.
Yes. I always say nothing has challenged me or made me realize what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
Like parenting. Like it has brought everything out. The good and the bad.
Exactly. Like I didn't know I was a type A personality until you need things done and need them done now. It's like,
how are you a type A personality? You grew up in a teepee.
I know. Where did this come from? Before this, I was like, oh, whatever. The dogs will just sleep with us. Now I'm like, this happens now, this and this time, and it brings.
I remember like when we finally did get on kind of a sleep schedule, being really militant about the naps, and people would make fun of me and be like, why are you so intense? And I'm like, oh, no. You don't mess with mommy's nap for her kid. Because
it sets your whole entire tone of your day. It's like if there's going to be crankiness, everything's,
Yeah, a sleep-deprived kid is like the worst thing on the planet.
And also, that's like your 15, 30 minutes to do something for you. Exactly.
Okay, what's your proudest parenting moment?
I would say it's not like this huge thing, right? But it's like the little moments. So one that really comes to mind is when he was around like 5 or so. I remember getting really worked up about something and getting upset about something, and he turned to me and he's like, "Mom, breathe. Take a deep breath in and breathe. It's okay. It's okay. Now, what do you tell me? You're allowed to have your emotions. Now just have your emotions. It'll be okay." And so he like talked me through calming me down at 5. And I felt like, oh my God, I am proud of this, because it meant what I was teaching him, he's now applying it back to me, you know?
He's like a little yogi.
Yes.
I love that.
Sometimes in that moment. He was.
Yeah.
Let's not get carried away.
Hey, he did it once.
Exactly.
That is awesome. And you feel also like you taught him something and it actually got in there.
Yeah, because does that ever happen to you where you're like just saying all this stuff and you're like, he's not even taking anything in. But then the next day, something will slip out there like, oh, you're really listening to me.
Yeah, like the F word. Like I say that all the time and I didn't realize it was getting in. And then when my son was 4, it actually became his favorite word. And I kept telling him like, can you just say fork when we're in public? And he's like, it's not the same, Mommy. It doesn't feel as good.
Oh my God. I have one little small story, like kind of like this, but so at his better preschool, different preschool, they were learning all about the body. It's like everything about the body, and he was so into it. They even had a book about all so, you know, I probably let him have screen time too early, right? But he could read and write at a very early age. And so he got, 15 minutes of screen time. He was in preschool, so.
You're good, because my kid right now is on his 15th hour today.
Oh, no. Quarantine, I'm sorry. That's all out the window. No, we're just surviving at this point.
Yeah.
But he typed in inside my body, and we hadn't set any of the parental things yet, because we would think, well, he would know. And all these porn pictures came out. He's like, Mommy, what's this? And it was like bad porn stuff inside my body. And I was like, oh my God. And I started kind of freaking out. And I was like, I ruined him. He's been traumatized for life. But it was on a phone, so it was like small. So I don't think, hopefully he doesn't.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
What is your best piece of parenting advice for everyone watching?
You said it. You already said it, which is don't listen to anybody else. I mean, if you need help, of course, reach out. But it's like your gut knows. And I think in the beginning, I was like, reading every single book I could get my hand. I don't know what I'm doing. How did I do it? My mom couldn't remember anything, so she was no help. And then in the end, I was like, oh, now that I look back and I'm like, I knew what to do. I just didn't trust it. And it's like, if I could go back, I would just say, everybody else, shut up. I'm doing this my own way, okay? Because that would have been the best way. And
there are so many voices. You've got the books, and you've got the internet, and the media, and the Sanctimommies, and the people who don't have kids.
Exactly. I will say, though, it is nice to have, like, no drama discipline or something where there is, it makes something that makes sense to you. That's like, how do I deal with the meltdowns, or how do I manage this? And then there are like scientific ways of like how the brain chemistry is. So that kind of does help to understand it a little bit if you can then apply it. But, in the end, you just have to do it your way.
I agree. I was so excited when I heard that you were willing to hide in the bathroom with me.
Oh my God, I was so excited to share. We need this outlet, you know what I mean? It's so nice to connect with new people.
It's so isolating. It's so nice to connect.
I'm going to touch you. I'm touching you.
Hi! Here, we can do a hug.
Oh, you're a good hugger.
Well, enjoy quarantine.
You too. Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun.
Thank you for coming on. I loved it. Okay, tell everybody what you're doing next, where they can find you on the internet, all that good stuff. I've already, right before quarantine, I was shooting a movie with Terry Polo, who I think you're also going to interview. It's called Fourth Grade B. So I'm really excited about that, with Mina Savari and Billy Baldwin. So that's really fun. Oh, I saw him at the beach once.
Yeah.
And he was so cute. Oh,
He
my
is
goodness.
cute. I agree with that. And his wife, China, I've never met her, but I've been following them on Instagram. They're so adorable together. They just love each other, and their kids don't even. They're
I'm sure they're
gorgeous. Stupid
Yeah.
gorgeous. Ridiculous. I'm on Instagram, Boti Bliss, and yeah, I mean, until the things are up and running again, you're looking at what I'm doing.
People aren't realizing that this has actually, it's brutal for so many people.
Yeah.
But, I live in this world of creative people, and for creative people, this is really tough. Everything's stopped.
Yeah.
Like my camera guy, no work. Actors, no work. Agents, no work. Like it is.
And it's so scary, but then there's people like you that are just coming up with these creative things. So there is this another side where it's like a creativity that people are coming up with, like so inventive, how to express themselves still, and
Yeah, we can hide in the bathroom and Zoom.
Exactly. And I would have never met you otherwise.
Exactly. Well, when we are let out of our cages and allowed to see each other, I will give you an actual hug in person.
I would love that.
All right, have a good quarantine. I don't even know what to say. Survive.
Thank
Bye.
you.